Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Makers in Minnesota podcast, where we talk to cool people doing cool things. And I'm here with Jessica Kohanek, and she is the founder of Koru Kombucha. Did I say that right?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on the podcast today.
Of
We had a little
course.
audio trouble, but I think we're all situated now. Um,
Perfect.
Jessica, tell me about your foray into kombucha making.
My foray into well, back in
I
2017.
want to point out too that you're like in a classroom.
Yeah, yep. I
Are
teach
you a
full
teacher?
time.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So I'm here. The kids just left and I just had my end of the year meeting with my par person. So that just got done. And now I'm doing this. I'm super excited. And when we're done, I'm gonna go flavor some kombucha, go shopping for some ingredients and get that. It's a busy day. It's a
Yeah, I
busy week.
love
It's
it.
always busy. Yeah, I like being busy. It works out for me.
What made you start deciding to make kombucha?
Okay. I'll try to make it, it's a long story, but I'll make it short. Basically, back in 2017, I was teaching. I teach high school now, but back then I taught little kids Montessori for second, third graders. So I had about 36 to 6, 7, 8, 9 year olds in my class. So I'm doing that full time. I was working towards my K through 12 art license back then. So I was going to school at Bethel 4 nights a week. And my son, I'm a single mom, and my son was in hockey and the goalie. So I had all this going on. And I'm like, oh, I'm so tired, like going to class at night and getting everything done. And my body doesn't do well with caffeine or sugar. So I'm not a pop drinker, and coffee is makes me ill. So I mean, I love the taste of it, but it doesn't do well with my body. So a friend of mine at the time said, I heard kombucha is really good for like energy and this and that. It's a healthy way without getting all your sugar and caffeine and whatnot, but it works. So he kept bringing me kombucha. And after about 2 weeks, I'm like, oh my God, I was going to class at night without yawning, and I could get through the day a lot easier. I dropped a few pounds. I just felt really good.
Yeah.
It just felt really good. I'm like, this is magical stuff. I need to learn more about it. Like at the time I've heard of it. It was like a California thing or a
Sure.
East Coast thing. And like, what is this? And so I started researching, and buying a bottle at $4 a pop when you're a single mom wasn't a good idea, on a teacher salary. So I, YouTube, how do you make kombucha, and did it. And then I started making it and having fun with making flavors, and, getting it to the pH that I liked and the flavors that I liked. And I could, personalize it. And I'm like, I like mine's a little bit better than the store stuff anyways. This is great. And so I went from 2 gallons, and then I went, bought another 2 gallon, and because I was going through it. And I'm like, mom, sister, friends, you guys got to try this stuff. This is freaking amazing. Like all the benefits that's coming out of this. And so I started making more. And then I had like glass jars all over the house. So I'm like, okay, well, I went and bought a 30-gallon fermenter, and then another one. And then its story keeps going if you want to keep it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went, what was it? I wrote a teacher's grant to go to Hawaii to study the flora and fauna of Hawaii, and won it. So I went to Hawaii for almost a month with my son at the time, and met all these amazing people. And it just so happened when I was there, I met these people that were making the Hawaii kombucha, and I saw what they were doing and how they were doing it. And I'm like, I can do that. So I came home and did it. But went down to Kansas City with the Brewery Kombucha, thanks guys, and bought 4 90-gallon fermenters from them. And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this commercially. I got to share this kombucha with the world. Let's go, let's do this. And I started looking at shared kitchens, and I'm like, I can't afford this. I can't afford that because my stuff takes up too much space, and it wouldn't like be
Yep.
logical to do this. A friend of mine, Ryan, who was one of the owners at Stack Deck Brewery downtown St. Paul, he said, just come here and brew. I'm like, okay, thanks, man. So we tried it out. I took a break from school to do this. 2020, March of 2020, everything shuts down the month I moved in there. But I just really focus on getting, making it commercially and getting in. Um, my goal was just to be really local, really like coffee shops, people in St. Paul. I just wanted to kind of Inver Grove, where I'm from,
Yep.
and supply my people, right, that were around me, and at least do that. And I'm still teaching full time, so I didn't want to get all crazy big. And so that worked out really great for a while. Stack Deck is no longer. And so I spent a lot of time emailing breweries from all over, the Twin Cities. Hey, do you have space for me? Do you have space for me? Let's, I probably got 15 to 20. Nope, I'm sorry. Good luck in your adventure. We don't have that much space. Um, and when I finally went to 11 Wells Distillery,
Yep.
and talked to the guy there, he's like, we don't have what you need. Why don't you go talk to the guys at St. Paul Brewing? I'm like, I swear I did, you know, but I checked my emails and I didn't, but I went over and talked to Bob, who's the head brewer over there. Awesome guy. Everyone there is awesome. And he's like, yeah, we can make space. Let's do this. So I got to talk to Rob, the owner, and they made space for me. And I'm like, at the time I was ready to, in my mind, I was ready to start my own shop and be done with teaching. And, but I'm still there, and it's been almost 2 years, I think now. But I've really learned, I'm in a different teaching job that I absolutely love.
Yep.
I'm teaching at an alternative high school. I'm the electives teacher. So I get to do art and cooking and careers and teach them about the real life stuff. And so I'm doing a really good job of balancing both things. I'm still taking in a few new, what's the word I'm looking for? Not clients, but just places to sell kombucha.
Retailers. Yep.
Thank you, retailers. Yeah, I just got into Red Rabbit on Grand, and yeah, it's just fun, just an adventure. And I don't know what I'm going to do in the future, but just keep growing as it comes organically, I guess.
Yeah. And so how much kombucha, like you sent me 6 flavors and they're all really interesting. You've got
Thanks.
a lemongrass, there's some berry. Like how much kombucha is the normal amount to drink per day for gut health benefits? Because I don't think people know.
Good question. I suggest when people come to me for kombucha, first I ask if their body is used to probiotics in the first place, because some people will take pills or powders or whatnot, or eat, fermented foods. So I kind of figure out where they're at. If your body is not used to probiotics at all, I would suggest a third of the bottle throughout the day, a third in the morning, a little bit in the afternoon and the evening, just to kind of see how your body feels, because every body is different. And when I first started, I would drink the whole bottle and I was fine. Some people have issues that kombucha is known to help out. So it might have more effect on your body. And kombucha is known to it's like, I always say, it's kind of like cleaning out a junk drawer.
Yep.
Right. And so the probiotics and the kombucha, you got to get everything out of there, all this yucky stuff, and get it out, and it kind of flares up and it's like a mess. What did I do? This is a huge mess. But then you kind of put back what you need, and it kind of helps in that. I compare it that way. So to answer your question, I would start, if you're not used to it, like a third of the bottle, maybe 3 ounces at a time.
Okay.
If you're nervous, start with 1 ounce, because it is a detoxifier, right? So
And then is it started with plain distilled vinegar, or do they always use cider vinegar?
I don't use any vinegar. So I use gunpowder organic green tea, and I use cane sugar. So I make my tea, add the sugar, let it cool down, add like a 15% of previous batch, how many ever gallons you're
Yep.
using. It's kind of like starter fluid, like when you're
Yeah.
making. So I call it starter fluid. And then add that, and then you add your SCOBY, which is your symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast, this living organism that's going to eat most of the caffeine and the sugar that's in there and ferments it. You know how like cabbage turns into sauerkraut? It's like you got your
Yep.
sweet tea turning into kombucha. So I don't start with any vinegar. But if you let it sit long enough and ferment long enough, the acidity gets really low, so it tastes like vinegar.
Yeah.
It gets to that point.
So you're fantastic to meet, because I love that you're so like passionate about this and just found it on YouTube. And you mentioned being a single mom, and I don't know unless people are single moms or single parents that they can really put themselves in that space, which is you're trying to provide for your family, whatever that looks like to you. You also are the only person that can parent, whatever that requires. And so you have to be super strategic in your decision making, yet you want to have like a good life for yourself, right?
Right.
And it's kind of a process of trial and error, and it takes a village. So that you like go out and just ask everybody for help and figure these things out is so true of how I feel like single moms have to be, or single dads, because you can't do it all alone.
You have to be resourceful, that's for sure.
Yep.
Smart and good decision making, like you said, right? Jonas came around with me quite often. You know, he was old enough. He's 17 now. When I started, you know, he was 13 when we went to Hawaii, and he's watched this whole process. And it's definitely a process, man. I started with buying old GT bottles from this awesome lady out in Minnetonka, like driving almost an hour just to go get used bottles, and I'd wash them, sterilize them, delabel them, relabel them in 5-gallon buckets in my kitchen with OxyClean stuff. It
Yep.
was, and then just for how much things change. And then, he would help, and he's learning about businesses and, how to run it and how to save money and how to use your money wisely and have just bank accounts and all the things. So it's been a total learning experience for both of us. And I wanted to involve him, and he loves it, and he loves helping. He'll help me bottle and deliver, and he's driving now. So it's awesome. It's great. Yeah.
Are you making money yet?
Um, yes. I like to, I have the separate bank account where I'm trying to build it. So when I'm ready for my shop, I'll have a down payment. Um, I am doing certain things like paying my phone bill with it and making double payments on my car so I can be done with that. But
Yep.
I'd really keep the personal and business separate so I can be wise about that, with later on with money.
And is
So,
your hope to open a kombucha shop? And is there such a thing?
um, they're sporadic. They're all over the West Coast, East Coast, Albuquerque. I'm going to go visit one this weekend. Um, there was one up in Duluth. It's no longer, but yeah, it would be awesome to have a kombucha shop. And I have amazing, beautiful female friends that are doing small business things that I'd like to collaborate and, keep the community alive, have classes. I love art. I teach art classes. Um, I have a beautiful friend who's an acupuncturist who specializes in Chinese herbal medicine. And I'd love to, work with her to make, kombucha is medicinal as it is, but even to make it more specific for different ailments using her knowledge in the Chinese herbal medicine with that. I've worked in the restaurant since I was 15 years old. So I have the feeling of those and customer service. And it would be awesome just to have a place to read and have plants and books and music and live music and a place to gather. And I think that would be amazing. Yeah.
Well, and some of the best coffee shops are coffee shops that are also record stores, or coffee shops that are bookstores. Like, I could totally see that with kombucha. And even at some point, like, because it makes a great mixer for distilled and non-alcoholic cocktails too.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Yeah.
It's
And
so
it's
fun.
a fancy glass, and all of a sudden you're having a little mocktail, it's some fruit, and it's fabulous.
I
It's
love
great.
it.
Hmm.
So right now, where to find your Koru Kombucha, where would we shop right now to find it generally?
Um, okay, so I'm pretty local, but I'm also like at Northern Grounds up in Ely. I'm making a delivery in a couple weeks.
That's
Down in
funny because,
Wabasha.
yeah, we talked about that. That's where my cabin is, and I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to,
maybe I'll see you up there this summer.
oh, if the ice ever goes out, it could be
I
Memorial
know.
Day, but yes.
Yeah, well, that's what. Yeah, Joan's like, can you get here before Memorial Day? So, but Yellowbird is awesome over on Selby in
Yes.
Lexington. The corner store in Inver Grove Heights. That's the little gas station that I used to go to when I was a kid to buy my candy. So I love that. Of course, St. Paul Brewing Company represent. Utaples goes through more my kombucha than anyone. Urban Growlers, another brewery. So it's like, go get something to eat. They all have amazing food and
I love
people
it.
too. So it's like, grab a pizza, grab a kombucha on tap if you're not feeling like drinking, or mix half beer, half kombucha is another thing. So if you don't want as much alcohol, but and you add a little fruit flavor to your
Oh, I
beer, is
like
kind of
it. Yeah,
fun.
like your own sour almost.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
it's
great.
really
And
good.
they Urban Growler won the best fish fry in the Twin Cities. So if people want to
I'm
go
not
get fish
surprised.
fry, yeah, because
They know
it's
what
so
they're
good.
doing over there. They're awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's super nice to meet you and to talk with
Thank
you.
you.
I'm gonna keep my eye on you because I can just tell, like, sometimes you talk to people and they got the thing or they don't have the thing, and you
Mm.
have the thing. I just think you need the time to get all your resources together. But I think your product's tremendous. I loved the
Thank you.
labeling. I liked the packaging. I thought it tasted super great.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, I'm all about
Lots
it.
of love goes in there. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yeah, Koru kombucha, not
Here you go.
kombuchi. We should
A lot of
have
people say that. I
kombucha
think
though.
it's cute. It's like when a kid pronounces something wrong, it just sounds adorable. Like people do
Yeah.
that all the time. Like, it's cute.
Yeah, it's
It's
almost cuter in some respects, but it's
yeah,
great to talk with you, and I'm sure we'll run into each other again. Thanks for being a guest.
awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thanks.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.